From Neural Newscast, I'm Richard Lawson.
And I'm Talia Brooks.
The Supreme Court has just issued a definitive ruling that strikes at the heart of the current administration's economic platform. In a 6-3 decision today, the court found that President Trump overstepped his authority when he ordered sweeping tariffs on imports from nearly every country in the world. The ruling targets the use of the 1977 International Emergency Economic Powers Act, or IEEPA, as a tool for levying these taxes.
It's a rare instance of this conservative-led court reining in executive power. Chief Justice John Roberts wrote the majority opinion, and he was joined not only by the court's 3 liberals, but also by Justices Amy Coney Barrett and Neil Gorsuch. Roberts was very specific in his writing, stating that if a president wants to unilaterally impose tariffs of unlimited amount and duration, they must have clear authorization from Congress. He noted that the 1977 law simply falls short of that requirement.
The dissent was equally notable, with Justices Clarence Thomas, Samuel Alito, and Brett Kavanaugh siding with the White House. This case was different from previous challenges that played out on the emergency docket. This time, the court ordered full briefings and expedited arguments, making it the first real opportunity for the justices to say no to the president's expansive use of trade authority. The tariffs in question represent about half of all the import taxes the government is currently collecting.
The financial scale here is massive. The federal government has been collecting roughly $30 billion every month in tariffs, which is about 4 times what it took in before the president returned to office. While the administration has claimed these costs are being paid by foreign suppliers, research from Harvard and the University of Chicago tells a different story. Economists Geeta Gopinath and Brent Naiman found that nearly all the cost of these tariffs are being absorbed by U.S. importers and eventually their customers through higher prices. We've also seen significant shifts in where goods are coming from. At the Port of Los Angeles, cargo from Asia has slowed. In 2024, China accounted for about 12% of U.S. imports, but by last September, that share had dropped to around 8%. Importers are desperately trying to shift production to countries with lower tariff rates, while the White House has already had to roll back or delay taxes on items like coffee and bananas to avoid making the cost of living crisis even worse for voters.
Now that the court has ruled the specific IEEPA tariffs unconstitutional, the question is what happens next? Justice Barrett mentioned during oral arguments that a refund process could be a mess. However, some legal experts suggest that since tariffs bills are computerized, identifying eligible payments might be more manageable than expected. The Customs Agency has even indicated it might waive certain deadlines to facilitate these refunds.
Richard, the administration isn't likely to give up on its trade agenda entirely. They've already promised to replace any illegal tariffs with taxes based on other statutes where the president's authority is more established. But those alternatives are much more restrictive. For example, Section 122 of the Trade Act of 1974 allows for tariffs to address trade deficits, but they're capped at 15% and can only last for 150 days. Other laws require extensive fact-finding by the Commerce Department before any action can be taken.
It certainly forces a more methodical approach than the current roll-of-the-bed strategy the court just struck down. The president has consistently called himself a true believer in tariffs as a negotiating tactic, but today's ruling creates a much higher bar for how that leverage can be used moving forward. We'll be watching closely to see how the Treasury and the U.S. Trade Representative react to this shift in the legal landscape.
I'm Richard Lawson.
And I'm Talia Brooks.
Thank you for listening to Neural Newscast. Neural Newscast is AI-assisted, human-reviewed. View our AI transparency policy at neuralnewscast.com.